You are listening to the Keep the Weight Off podcast with Dr. Angela, episode number 95.
Welcome to the Keep the Weight Off podcast, where we bust all the dieting myths and discover not just how to lose weight, but more importantly, how to keep it off. We go way beyond the food, and we use science and psychology to give you strategies that work. And now your host, Dr. Angela Zechmann.
All right, and welcome to this week's podcast. So excited to be here with you this week. We're right in that week between Christmas and New Year's. I actually love this week. This is like one of my favorite weeks of the year.
This is one of my favorite weeks too. I love it too. Yeah, this is around my favorite time. I think that you guys didn't get snow, but we got snow. So,
really?
Yeah, we've gotten more snow than you guys have. So I'm feeling a lot more in the Christmas spirit. And then when I drive down to work, I like, what? So much different weather up where I'm at. So I'm feeling it.
She lives maybe 30 or 40 minutes away from Olympia. Is that about right, would you say?
Yeah. Up in elevation. So our weather's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's interesting living around here because there are all these little microclimates. And so you can have very different weather in different places, in places that are not too far away. So, yeah.
For sure. That's correct.
Yeah. So did you have a nice Christmas?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's always nice being around family.
Yeah.
That's my favorite time of the year. Yeah, Christmas. Who doesn't love Christmas?
I know. I love it
Besides the Grinch.
Well, okay. So before I do anything else, I want to read you an awesome review that came in for us about this podcast. I was like blown away. And it came through on iTunes. And it was so touching. It comes from someone who calls themselves a Michael Jackson lover. And here's what it said. So the title was Empowering. I don't know how to write a review that will do this podcast justice. I come away with a little something new every episode I listen to. Re-listening to your podcasts gives me hope on hard days. The science behind weight loss is something everyone needs to hear. Thank you, Dr. Angela and Marshall, for all the time and energy putting these podcasts together. You're empowering and giving hope to those who listen. Isn't that awesome?
I appreciate this review so much.
I know,
thank you.
I know. So thank you, Michael Jackson lover, for that
awesome
review.
Michael Jackson lover, you're amazing. Thank you for reaching out to us because we love hearing some feedback. We don't get a lot of it, and we'd like to hear more.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for taking the time out to write us a review. That was wonderful.
If you would like to leave a review, we would love it. And we'd love to read your review on the podcast too. Wouldn't that be fun? So remember that anytime you leave us a rating or review, that's going to help other people find the podcast. And I really believe what this review says, that the science behind weight loss is something that everyone needs to hear. And so feel free to spread the word and give us a rating. And if you have time, give us a review so that other people can find us. And thank you in advance for taking the time to do this. All right. So I also want to remind everyone that we're in the middle of our 4-day Belly Busters challenge, and it's not too late to join us. We're only on day 2 of the challenge, so you can still get caught up. So just go to journeybeyondweightloss.com/challenge to sign up. And you'll get a link to join us in the special challenge Facebook group where you can watch the videos and post your answers to the challenge questions. And every day we have a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card, which is fun. So I give you challenges, like little assignments to do, and then you post your answers to the daily challenge. And then we'll just pick a random person who posted for a $25 Amazon gift cards. And we also have a grand prize for anyone who posts on all 4 days of the challenge. So we have a ton of fun, and it's fun for our participants to be in this group of people, like we're all working together and supporting each other and really making positive changes in our lives. So if you've got weight loss as one of your 2023 goals, or you know someone who does, be sure to join us in the challenge and have them join with you. Just go to journeybeyondweightloss.com/challenge to sign up.
Yes, I
Cool.
absolutely love doing these challenges. So if you
I
haven't
know.
signed up yet,
I
get
know.
on board.
I know.
Come
It's
do the
great.
challenge with me.
Yep. It's fun. So, and it takes quite a bit of preparation, believe it or not, just to get everything ready for the challenge. So
Right.
there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So, all right. Well, other than hosting this challenge, you know what I do during this week every year and why I love it so much? I take time off from the clinic so that I have a chance to breathe a little bit and sort of clear my head and do some thinking. Because I love to use this time as time to reflect and think about what I want the next year to look like for me. So lots of people use this time to set resolutions, right? I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but resolutions have gone out of favor because most of us never really follow through on our resolutions. And here's what I did. I went to Google and I looked up some memes. There are so many funny memes about resolutions. Like one of them says, I don't call them New Year's resolutions. I prefer the term casual promises to myself that I'm under no obligation to fulfill. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I love it.
And here's another one. It's almost time to repeat this whole new year, new me thing.
You're right. That's the truth.
And then another one said, I'm just going to make my New Year's resolutions now so that by New Year's Eve, I will have already given up on them.
Oh, I love this.
And here's the last one. My New Year's resolution was to lose weight. So far, I've just lost my motivation to lose weight.
Oh, this is great.
I know. I think we've all been there. We have these ideas about what we want to have happen. And then it's like just a few weeks into it, we either forget or we just lose our focus or something happens and we just give up. So how many people join a gym every year on New Year's and show up for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, if that, and then they stop going? It's super, super common. And those of us who are regulars at the gym see it every single year.
Oh, my story is definitely sign up at the beginning of the year, use it for a few weeks. And then that's been my practice at the gym is big plans of grandeur and then no follow through.
Well, you know what? There's a reason for this. And I want to explain a little bit about why that is, because number one, I don't want anybody listening to this podcast to ever feel guilty. And number two, I want you to be successful. So I want you to learn how to work with your own brain, right? So I don't want you to fall into that trap and end up giving up. So I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this podcast, you're very interested in losing weight and keeping it off. And so it's important to understand what's happening. So our brains are just really, really interesting. We can get all gung-ho at the first of the year and think about what we want to accomplish in the next year. For example, let's say you decide to have a goal to lose 50 pounds in 2023. I just pulled that number out of a hat, but let's just say you want to lose 50 pounds in 2023. Well, what most people do is they start some sort of diet, right? Let's say they join Noom. Have you seen that one, Noom? Do you know
I have seen that, yeah. Yep.
Lots of people know that one. Or WW, which used to be called Weight Watchers. Or
everybody's heard of Weight Watchers, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, and then they also go to a gym and they start working out. And they're thinking, okay, I'm tracking my food or my points or whatever it is, and I'm exercising and I'm burning off calories. This better work, right?
Yeah.
This has to work because I'm working really hard here. It takes so much effort, right? And you know what actually requires the most effort, I think, is all the hours on the treadmill. It's a lot of time and energy spent on treadmills in the beginning of the year.
Oh, it's an agonizing amount of time.
It's an agonizing amount of time on treadmills. Yeah.
Right.
So here's some brain science that I want you to understand. B.J. Fogg, this is a guy, a gentleman. His name is B.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G. He's a habit researcher. I think he's from Stanford. And he's developed a model for behavior change. And he says that when something is really difficult to do, like change everything all at once and go to the gym and work out on the treadmill for an hour every day, it requires too much motivation to last for any long period of time. And he has a graph, and I want you to just envision this in your head. There's difficulty on one axis and motivation on the other axis. Okay? So let's say it's the vertical axis is how much motivation does it take? And on the horizontal axis is how difficult is it? If the task is super hard, it requires a lot of motivation. But if the task is easy, it requires almost no motivation at all. So he's got an awesome TED Talk where he's teaching this model. He uses flossing your teeth as an example. So let's say that you know you need to floss your teeth, but you just don't do it. So you make a New Year's resolution to floss your teeth. What most people do is they try to remember to floss their teeth every night, but then they forget, and a month down the road, it's totally out of their mind again, right? It takes a lot of motivation to floss your entire mouth every night in the beginning. It just does. It just takes a lot of motivation. So he recommends you don't do that. He recommends making it easy so that it doesn't take so much motivation. He also recommends tying it to another activity that you already routinely do. So for example, you already brush your teeth every night. At least I hope you do, right? Now,
Oh, yeah.
all you have to do is after you brush your teeth, you floss one tooth. Just one tooth. Only one. Not the whole mouth. You just floss one tooth. Okay. Now, so that's easy, right? It takes no motivation at all. Now, here's the interesting brain chemistry part. You need to seal in that new behavior with some sort of reward. So you need to get some sort of a little dopamine release in your brain in order for your brain to remember that this is something that you want to keep doing. So you think about what you say to yourself when you do something awesome or when something really great happens to you. So for example, I'll find myself saying, great job, or you're awesome, and maybe even do a little fist pump in the air like that. You know, if there's an action that you can do along with the words, that will give you an even bigger dopamine hit. So just try it, Marshall. It's like, say, I'm awesome.
I'm awesome.
Yeah. Say, no, but I mean it. Say,
Okay.
I'm awesome.
I'm awesome. I'm awesome.
Yes. Or
There
like,
we go.
that was great. You know, that was just really
That was great, Marshall.
Yeah.
You rock.
You rock. Yeah, that's something you say. You rock. And is there some sort of movement that you do along with it?
Yeah, I would jump up and down.
You jump.
Do a little
Okay.
jump. Do a little jump.
Okay. If you're driving, don't do this with Marshall.
I won't do a little jump if I'm driving.
But if you can think of some sort of little action that you might do along with it. So I'm saying you're awesome and I'm doing a fist pump along with it. And my brain is getting a dopamine hit from that. Okay. So that's what's going to seal in the new behavior. It takes very little effort. You get a nice little reward, so you'll want to keep doing it.
Because we all know how much our brains love the dopamine hits.
They love dopamine, yes. So then over time, you add more and more teeth to your flossing routine. And before you know it, you're a regular tooth flosser and it's become an automatic habit. But you didn't start with the whole mouth. Okay? So that's how you make long-term changes in behavior, just a little bit at a time, and you seal it in with a reward. This is super, super, super important. Does that make sense, Marshall?
Yeah, I remember. So when I first joined the gym last year, not quite a year ago, just going to because the gym always seems like it was 1,000 miles away, even though it was not that far away. It just seems like that. And so I would always have these good intentions of going, but like I would say, it's so far away. I don't even want to deal with it. And then I would just sit on the couch and I wouldn't go to the gym. Well, you and I had talked about it and you're like, don't just, even if you just go there for 5 minutes, just go there for 5 minutes. Doesn't even matter. Cause you're just getting there, was like crossing that bridge of doing something, And so my husband and I did that. So, what we did is we joined a closer gym because the one that we had, it just didn't fit into our routine. And so we had to rethink our plan because, we didn't think it out very well because we were just like, just join the gym. And so, we joined the most popular one. But when we rethought it, we joined a closer gym that of course made the trip easier. And then when we first went down there, we would just get in the hot tub. just
There
to
you
get there,
go.
just to go there. So we went in the hot tub first, and that was our reward. Then we started like working out for the 15 minutes or, even 5 minutes. Started out as 5 minutes. I'm not going to lie. Started
Yeah.
out at 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
then 6 minutes. We went up to a whopping 6 minutes.
Yeah,
And
there
then,
you go.
yep. And then it was 10 minutes, and then
Mhm.
15 minutes. And then at the
Yep.
end, if I had the energy or or just want to, I would go sit in the hot tub. But now, I mean, so I can't say that I do it on a really regular basis because it's still something that I'm working on. But
Mhm.
I used the gym membership more times in a week than I did in the whole year of the other plan. So being
Yeah.
really realistic, like she said, making it really easy
Yeah.
is really important. Like just make
Yeah.
whatever you want to do super easy on yourself at
Mhm.
first.
So BJ Fogg calls it the activation threshold. So the activation threshold is that point where it's super easy. It's so easy that it takes no motivation and you can just do it
Yeah.
without a problem.
Right?
That's the activation threshold.
That's what we had to do.
Yeah. So going to the gym every day and working out on the treadmill for a half an hour, like, no, you're not going to do that. It requires too much motivation. But just going and driving into the parking lot and then leaving, just to kind of get your brain used to that idea of driving to the gym, if that's what your
just
goal
going
is.
there was the biggest obstacle. Just going there, just getting to the gym, from wherever I was at. So that was what was holding me up. Not the working out part so much. It was just getting there. So, just doing that, getting there and then doing the 5 minutes or whatever, just walking in was I don't know, it's just so helpful doing it that more realistic way. So this totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. So now when I think about what I want to accomplish in the new year, which I do every year at this time, I've actually stopped calling them New Year's resolutions. So I don't resolve anything. I just call them New Year's intentions. I have intentions. So I intend to have certain things happen in the new year. For example, for me, I want to get more flexible. So I want to get flexible enough that I can do the splits by the end of 2023. Now, if you had any idea how inflexible I am, you would be like, wow. But if I just do a little bit every day by the end of 2023, I could be flexible enough to do the splits. That would be so awesome. So this way, I have this intention to get more flexible. And this way I can just keep working on it. Like I don't have this resolution that I'm going to be doing the splits. It's like I have this intention. Okay. So I don't have to give up thinking that I've failed. Does that make sense?
Well, I think, okay, so if you never heard the word resolution before, you could probably use that. But I think what happened is that we have used that word so many times, of course, and it becomes like a word that we failed, that the minute you throw that word in, of course, you think about failure. At least I do. That's what happens to me. Like I use that word. I'm like, that's something that's not going to happen then. Yeah. So just changing the word. It's because it's still the same thing. I mean, you still, the intention, resolution, same diff pretty much. But you're right. Using that new word is very helpful because I don't have like a negative feeling attached to it.
Right. Okay. So let's say you have this intention to lose 50 pounds in 2023. So you want to stop relying on fast food and convenience foods, and you want to teach yourself how to cook your own meals and make healthy choices on a regular basis. This is the way you're going to lose 50 pounds, right? So what I would do is I wouldn't expect you to all of a sudden just change everything right off the top, right? I would take it one step at a time. Make sure that whatever you do, it doesn't take too much motivation or you won't be able to stick with it. Okay. So you want to know the one habit that I think will serve you the most, and it's super easy and it's very, very low on that activation threshold. You know what it might be, Marshall?
I don't, but I do want to know.
Okay. Every night after dinner, think about the next day and write down exactly what you plan to eat the next day. Okay. What are you going to have for breakfast? What are you going to have for lunch? And what about dinner? And write it down in a notebook. And then when that's done, you do a little celebration and you remind yourself how awesome you are for doing it. Okay. Now, that takes no energy, right?
No, this is great.
And So remember also what BJ Fogg says is tie it to something else you're already doing routinely. So for example, perhaps it's after I clean up the kitchen, I will write down my meal plan for the next day. So after I do blah, 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 I will blah, blah, blah. That's the format that he recommends. So that is something that your brain already does every single evening, and you just tie it to that. So why is this one little habit so important? Any idea, Marshall?
So that you're prepared?
That's one reason, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Well, actually, what you're doing is you're instructing your primitive brain how you're going to nourish your body the next day. Remember, when your primitive brain is making your food decisions, you're going to go for whatever's most tasty and most convenient in the moment. We've talked about this in other podcasts. Like, your primitive brain is interested in pleasurable things and fast, convenient things. Okay? And in this modern food environment, that might mean a trip through the drive-thru or door-dashing a pizza or door-dashing Dairy Queen or whatever it might be. So your primitive brain is incapable of making good food decisions. So this means that all of your food decisions should be made in advance. So this is why this simple practice of making your plan the night before is so powerful. Because when you make your plan the night before, your planning brain, which is called your prefrontal cortex, this is the one that has all your goals in mind, and it's in charge. So that's the part of your brain that you want planning and executing your nutrition. So when you write it all down the night before, it's a little like taking a kid grocery shopping, and before you go into the store, you have a little chat with the kid, and you say, we're going to go into the store right now, and we're going to get this and this and this and this, and then we're going to go check out. And once we get home and unload the groceries, then we can go to the park. So you're kind of like using your adult human brain to instruct your childlike primitive brain about how things are going to go. And then it's way easier the next day to avoid the cookies or the cupcakes or the donuts or the candy that's at the office. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
You don't even have to necessarily follow your nutrition plan. Just make the plan and notice how your brain is thinking twice about things the next day. Right?
Yeah.
Notice how your brain does that. Is that making sense?
This does make sense.
Yeah. So can you imagine doing that?
I can.
Yeah. I don't write things down anymore. Because I've been eating well for so long. I just make sure that I get it all planned out ahead of time. But I think this little habit, this first step, is just writing it all down. And so that your brain is going to get into that way of thinking about your nutrition. Like, that's the first step, is the awareness. Okay? So that would be a really good intention to set off your New Year's with, to allow you to do what needs to happen in order to lose weight and keep it off long term. So that's what I would recommend. So, all right.
All right,
Cool.
guys. Yeah. So what I was hearing, just to reiterate, so basically what we're saying is the most important thing about this is the first plan is to make these neural pathways, the new neural pathways. That's the first step, right? Before we do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And to use your prefrontal cortex to instruct your primitive brain about what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to change your brain first.
Yeah.
Before you do anything else, for sure. All right.
All right. So we've talked about a lot today. So as we're heading into 2023, I want each one of you to think about who you want to be on December 31st, 2023. So a year from now, right? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who's struggling with the disease of obesity and all that inflammation and weight gain and joint pain and abdominal pain? Or do you want to be someone who likes feeling physically good and knows that everything that goes in your mouth matters? So I would recommend that you just take one small step every evening. Just make a plan for the next day. Get into that habit. After you clean up dinner, get a notebook and write down what you're going to have the next day. So easy to do. In the beginning, don't even worry about whether you follow your plan or not. You'll be surprised at what happens just by writing the plan. And join us in the Belly Busters Challenge so you can learn more about how to do this. Together, we can help you transform into the healthiest version of yourself possible for 2023. Isn't that awesome?
Right. Yeah. Don't do it alone. Do it with a community. This is the opportunity to get involved in a community that's going to be really supportive and helpful. You're going to learn so much. Come and join us. Join me. I'm doing it myself. And thanks, guys.
All right, everyone. Have a very happy New Year, and we will see you next year.
Right.
Next week will be next year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody.
All right. Take care. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Hey, if you really want to lose weight and keep it off for good, your next step is to sign up for Dr. Angela's free weight loss course, where you're going to learn everything you need to get started on your weight loss journey the right way. Just head over to journeybeyondweightloss.com/free course to sign up. Also, it would be awesome if you could take a few moments and write a review on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you in Journey Beyond Weight Loss.